If you've been listening to the podcast for a while and thought, man, I would love to grab a drink and pick the brain of some of these guests I've been listening to, or maybe me as well, here's your shot. I'm putting on an event this April called Elevate. This is the third year doing this, and we're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, where we're going to have the top agency owners really come together, share what's working, get real on what's not, and really help each other scale faster. So if you're ready to finally get out of the weeds and grow your agency the right way, I want you to join me and 50 other amazing 7 and 8 figure agencies at Elevate. You'll connect with people who've been there, leave with a real growth plan, and actually enjoy the process. Now, we only have a few tickets left, so make sure you go over to elevatemyagency.com to lock in your spot now. Go to elevatemyagency.com now. You're listening to the Smart Agency Masterclass with me, Jason Swank, and we're bringing you this episode courtesy of our friends at Wix Studio. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, excited to have you on. It's been a little while since we chatted, so tell us who you are and what do you do?
My name is Ben Childs. I'm president at Digital Reach, digitalreachagency.com. We're a consulting firm that works with B2B SaaS and tech clients, cybersecurity, AI, really big data, and helps them go to market. So anything from paid media and SEO to their rev ops and marketing ops, to their creative and digital experience, their brand all the way down. And our goal is to really bring a holistic attitude to modern B2B marketing, where I think a lot of it has been siloed off, and really help people just get a kind of integrated look into how to generate revenue as opposed to one-off solutions that don't integrate with their larger team and framework.
You know, in the pre-show, we started getting into a conversation. I was like, Ben, we got to hit record before we get into this. And you were recently at Adweek and you were talking to an agency owner, and I'll let you take it from there.
She had a great point that agencies will run into problems coming up because everyone's talking about AI. I know a lot of your shows have been around AI and adopting AI. She brought up that agencies are going to have a problem dealing with enterprise clients, which is a lot of who we deal with in B2B, who have their own internal LLMs and their own internal data sources and kind of have their own finely tuned engines. And I asked her, okay, what solutions should agency focus on given that, because it's true, like they will, given that reality. And I brought up, should we be partnering with third-party data providers to be like really like, because like you did really well in your previous agency partnering with a specific piece of software that got you in places. Okay, should data be the new software that we partner with? Okay, should we adjust our skill set into, right now we parachute into people's Google Ads accounts, their analytics accounts, their HubSpot, and we're just better at it than a lot of internal talent that they could hire. Should we adjust our skill set to where we parachute in and are just better at working with tailored LLMs than people that they hired? And she said, no, I think in 2 years, all agencies will be dead. And I'm getting out of my agency, and you probably should too. And WPP and Dentsu and all those companies are done.
I mean, Ben, what a downer. Thanks, Ben, for dropping the bomb on us. I mean,
yeah, those were her words. I just think we got into B2B in 2015 and we added, a lot of services, some of which have come and gone based on demand, some of which have come and gone based on our need to focus and really integrate a good solution. I think hiring people to help you with hard problems that are highly technical or require strategic expertise probably isn't going to go away in the next 2 years. And I think as an agency, our goal is helping B2B companies generate revenue and become more efficient and to help our client contact partner achieve their quarterly goals. Even if it's not the company itself, help our friend that we've worked with across several companies at their new company or however we got there. And I don't think that's going away. And I think in the age of AI, we're making a lot of investments and thinking really hard as to how we can get better at it and best serve our clients. But I really am, I don't buy the it's all going to zero in 2027 type stuff. I think there will be a day where things look radically different than they are now, but that's a ways away and business is always changing. There's always stuff that's changing. And the fact that it's not happening by next Friday, I think is a really great opportunity for agency owners to just begin thinking about it and integrating it and not be left behind.
Here's how I think of it is there's, like you said, that learning models will help us solve problems. What makes all agencies have the same tools, all businesses really usually have the same tools. But what is unique is the data and also, I feel, the people connection. People need a network, right? If you think about it like this, when everything is changing so fast, what's your edge? Your network, the people connection. Like my plumber, they're not going to want to know how digital marketing works. They're not going to want to know how AI works. He wants to get into his shit.
I think, especially as you work or as we've worked with more enterprise customers, the work we do becomes table stakes. We're good at it. They assume we're good at it. The real benefit is the organizational management in the politics, and procurement won't get this contract through. Can you help me? And we end up becoming armchair psychologists for internal marketers at very large companies, which, their product market fit is incredible. But when you really dig down, are just a group of people who are struggling to get their work done on very hard to reach goals and need help. And that could express itself in many different ways. But it's almost, one thing I really liked about your group is you guys don't talk about like how to do SEO or how to do like paid media. It's all the soft problems. The soft problems will never go away. And in fact, you could argue just increase in value when the kind of hard problems of the actual execution potentially becomes commoditized. I mean, we'll see at what level that happens and when. But the soft problems and getting good at those and really advising clients and being a trusted partner will only become more and more valuable.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be the trusted advisor. I was chatting with an old member not too long ago. They didn't want to adapt to the current environment. They were like, it's always worked this way and I don't want to change. And I'm like, you either adapt or you die on this way. And they were like, yeah, I'm getting closer to retirement. I think I'm just going to close it down. I don't even want to give it to anybody. I don't even want to sell it. Right. And this is a multi-million-dollar business. And they were just like, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. And those are the ones that will go under. Kind of like when I started my first agency and digital was coming, alive, and the internet and everything. And there was a lot of traditional firms that were like, we're not going to do this. Well, the traditional firms have hence died on that, and the digital has. So it's just like, this is just like everything else. It's making things more accessible and easy. But the part that people are missing is the people part. Like you're saying, it's the connection.
We're on Digital Reach 7.0 now. The company started in 2011. And originally I just called people and told them how to do their Google ads for $200 a month.
Is that what you were charging? $200 a month?
I just wanted to pay my rent. And it was just, you could cancel without a contract. I would be the one doing the work. I was calling off of a Magic Jack from my laptop that I got as a severance payment from my previous job off of my grandma's dresser that I used as a stand-up desk in San Francisco. And we changed and we built from there. And then we changed again and we built from there. And then we went into B2B and we changed and we built from there. And then we did RevOps and more data systems and we changed and we built from there. We're on Digital Reach 7.0 in 14 years. And we'll probably be on Digital Reach 12.0 in 10 more years. The idea that you can just ride this business idea that you started years ago into Valhalla is just not exactly what marketing is, especially if you want to play in enterprise, especially if you want to play in B2B, where things are dramatically different than they were 10 years ago when we really got into B2B. And I think it's totally fair to say that this is just a business change like anything else. Jason, here's what I told this woman. Some people will be better at it than others. That will never go away. Some people will be better at it than others, and people will pay for that.
There was someone interviewing Jeff Bezos maybe a year or 2 years ago. And they were like, what are you looking at? What's changing in the next 5 years? He's like, you're asking the wrong question. I wish everyone asked this question. What is not going to change in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. And I would even go further back than that. One of his earliest interviews, which still gets played, is he just talked about customer obsession. I can have the greatest business plan in the world that I spent so much time on, and my mom told me it was great, and everything looks fantastic. But if the customers are telling me they want something different, I'm the idiot. And so I think, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about during this podcast is just the idea of partnership, which is partnering with your clients and really having I'm not saying make them your friends, although we do have clients we consider our friends that we get together with. And sometimes it hasn't worked out and that's just business. But your clients will tell you what they want. And if you're still doing SEO like it's 2002, because that was the business plan in 2002, eventually it runs out for everyone. And so they're on the front lines telling you what they will pay for to help them with their jobs. And it's your job as an entrepreneur to balance this beautiful business plan that your mom told you was fantastic and what this company tells you they'll pay you $10,000 a month for.
So when I interview agencies to do work for us, the first thing they always say, we're going to be your partner, right? Everyone says that. So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into that of going, all right, what is a true partner in your eyes when you're, looking at your clients or your clients are looking back at you guys?
So we take a lot of companies off of other agencies, and there's this misconception that it's always about the numbers. It rarely is about the numbers until it has to be, because the trust has broken. You can get away with a lot, and I'm not saying it excuses poor work or screwing up or not being an expert in what you provide, but the numbers were bad isn't even a top 3 reason why I hear people are exploring working with us and leaving their current agency. Almost always, the numbers only became an issue when it was they don't understand our business, our contact got rotated out every 6 weeks or something like that.
Lack of communication.
That's the third one, is lack of communication. And so really it comes down to trust. When the money is down and we got to have this report, or my butt is on the line at my job, can I trust that your team will come through with something for me? That doesn't mean that the report is all up and to the right and all green, but I like to say we don't work with companies, we work with people who work at those companies. And so can those people say, when the money is down, when the chips are down, will Digital Reach have my back? And if the answer is no, we're just going to get fired, and we probably should. And if the answer is yes, you'll work with that person for a long time across several companies.
Look, your agency adapts for every client, right? Your builder should do the same. That's why Wix Studio is built for the way you actually create. AI-powered site mapping lets you get straight down to the design. Whether you shape things in Figma or start in Studio, your vision's coming to life quicker with no-code animations and built-in responsiveness. And for client growth that actually scale, you've got extendable business solutions and a dynamic CMS. Scale your agency at wixstudio.com.
Other than obviously delivering results, which builds trust, what can some agencies doing listening to this podcast right now to do in order to build trust quicker?
This is really hard to scale, but helping clients solve their internal problems. So, especially if you work with bigger organizations, that person's going to be in a Kafka-esque situation of paperwork and approvals and timelines and things like that. And so I think anything that you can help them do to make their job easier, like, yeah, I'll get on with your procurement and we'll push this through, or let me send a note to this person to see if they can approve it. That's really helpful. I think the other thing is when you do screw up and you really want this relationship, don't roll over, but don't be afraid to be like, hey, this is a gimme. We screwed up. We'll give you a month free or something like that. That's tough to scale because it needs to be kind of like an executive level decision, unless you have like a really scaled out team where they have some type of like discounting rule that they can do. But I don't think it's bad to say like, hey, we really screwed that up and we're not going to charge you for it. Now, like that happens twice and it'll never happen again with this company because you won't work with them anymore. But people like to see that you take some ownership. And I think both of those things get to this like third more important point, which is like, you should run towards the problem. Do not avoid the problem. Run towards it. This happened, or this is what's going on. This is why this is delayed. And if you run towards it, you're just going to get so much more benefit of the doubt, and you should, than just having it be this nagging issue that you kind of dance around.
I know if I was working with an agency and they came to me and I didn't even know we had a problem or they messed up and they said, look, Jason, the numbers are not where we're wanting them to be. This is what we're doing to correct it so it never happens again. I'd be like, okay, cool. Right. It's kind of like I was watching some documentary with the Blue Angels, and one of the fighter guys went up in their jet and the crew chief forgot to do a step. And it almost literally, like he had to do an emergency landing, could have ended really bad. And they asked the pilot, they go, what do you want to replace the crew chief? He goes, no, because he'll learn his lesson on this one, because I almost died from it. And, you know, he called it out and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of the same thing. If you kind of run from it and try to hide from the mistake, and then the client finds out, you're toast. So you might as well run toward it.
And I think it's that way kind of throughout life and business. We actually had that exact same scenario. I hired a salesperson from a much larger agency at the time. And the first client he brought us that was in his network, we got on for their first monthly call. And one of our partners was on the call, Zach. And he goes, okay, look, so the first month is not great. We went backwards in a lot of our metrics. And I just remember this guy put his head in his hands and he's like, oh my God, what am I doing? And, you know, just like, no, you're supposed to like try and sell them. You're supposed to try and like paper over it. You're supposed to try and just give yourself some leeway. And my partner, Zach, explained like, this is why we think it went bad. This is what we tried. Here's the plan going forward. Is everyone good to go? And the client was ready to run through a brick wall. They were like, yeah, I love that you tried that. That's really good information. Because if you communicate like that, it's either going to work or it's not. But I think there's a lot of like understanding in the business world that you're going to have to try something. But I think this happens internally too. We had a website go way over budget last year. And it was pretty stark between internal team members who jumped up, took responsibility, and were like, I screwed this, and this up. It'll never happen again. I feel really bad about it. And team members who, you know, there's everyone's fault but their own. And what's the truth? It kind of doesn't matter because you're just making these choices with limited information just based on how confident you feel in putting your trust in this person.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, Ben. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the listeners listening in?
Do more in-persons. In-persons will always be in vogue, even more so now. I know you do in-persons with your digital agency experience group, but if you have a client, decide your revenue metric for clients to get an in-person, whether it's a kickoff or a yearly, or figure out what conference they're going to. People want it.
Can't agree anymore. It's a game changer because especially in this Zoom or Google Hangout world we live in, for you to travel an hour to a client, man, jump in a plane to go see a client for a lunch, and you can sit down with them and then they can really understand who you are rather than, that picture on Zoom with all the filters and, all that kind of crap. The connection is a game changer.
Yeah, and it gets back to the original thing of partnership where, you have a couple drinks, you have a pizza, and they just go, you know what? I feel like I could trust this person if things really went down. Now, is that true or not? Obviously, be good at what you do and don't fall short of that.
Well, that should go without saying. Even though there's a lot of agencies out there that, we chat with them like, man, your services suck. How'd you get into this?
I think less so than there used to be. I think the water really went out with COVID interest rates and a lot of that stuff, where if you were providing a sham service, you got found out.
I really think it was someone took a course on, hey, you could live a nomad life and do this and all these people took these courses. I'm like, God damn it. Well,
you should see my Stripe screenshots. Comment charlatan for my free course that I'm sending out to everyone.
There you go. Awesome.
See, this is why they won't let me on LinkedIn.
I know. Well, yes, you always mess with me on LinkedIn, but I appreciate it when I catch it. So, well, awesome, Ben. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your insights and for everyone listening. I really do believe that if you do and really truly make your clients a partner and really build that trust, be that advisor and really kind of look at what you can do a little bit different, you're going to set yourself apart from everybody else. It's not just about saying it, it's about doing it. And if you want to hang out with some really amazing people live in person, go to elevatemyagency.com. And that's our live event that will have 50 agency owners, all curated. You can go buy a ticket, but we're going to interview you. And if you're not cool, if Ben wouldn't sit in a room and make fun of you, you can't come. So make sure you go to elevatemyagency.com. And until next time, have a swank day.